TG Geeks, episode 292, September 21st, 2020. True crime novels and criminals. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery. Sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in Phoenix, Arizona.
Did you just tweak your arm?
Ow. We moved a bunch of furniture yesterday and my back and my arm is, it's like tennis elbow. Anyway.
Yeah, and I'm Ben Raggington coming to you from lots of achy joints and pains and God knows what else here in Phoenix, Arizona.
And we're going to get right to it here if I can figure out what the heck I'm doing. There we go.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the Two Gay Geeks are discussing this.
Well, in this episode, actually, I was trying to adjust my mic whenever...
Is that what happened?
My elbow just tried to give out on me. We're talking to Alan R. Warren, who writes some true crime novels and is a radio personality. And then we'll have our birthday shout-outs, our featured podcast of the week, and some feedback and regular shout-outs. In the second segment, we might have something that we'll talk about there if we have time. Then our weekly recap and our regular shout-outs. So we're going to get right to talking to Alan right now. At this time, we welcome to our show Alan R. Warren, author, and you must look him up like that, or you're going to wind up with a foot doctor. So, welcome to the show,
Who
Al.
also writes books.
Who also writes books. I just had to throw that in. Sorry.
Yeah, no, because you wonder why it would matter, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So, tell us a little bit about Al Warren and what you have done and how you kind of got into writing, because you kind of have an interesting career. You do a couple of other things besides write. So tell us who you are and kind of your elevator pitch as if you're going to the top of the Empire State Building elevator pitch of your life.
Oh, good luck. I actually, let's see. With me, I had a late start. Very late start in my life. So I was born autistic, so I had a slow start at learning how to speak properly, and I still don't, and to write. But it was a ways to get out, and I did. So I started actually producing other shows.
Oh.
And that's where I started. And then I got a chance to interview someone, Lee Harvey Oswald's girlfriend at the time that he shot the president.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, that was crazy. And so she would only talk to me. So I talked to her for a couple of hours. So they released that, and that kind of, I became kind of a little bit popular then in the radio world, and all of a sudden I got a lot of job offers, and one thing led to another, and now I've had a show for about going on 9 years now for NBC in the West.
Wow.
See, Keith and I just got into this whole thing really late in the game.
Yeah. We didn't start until we were in our 50s.
Yeah. and we still haven't and we still haven't gotten that big break yet. But anyway, moving right along.
Nor have we grown up.
No.
Well, that's good. No, you know what? It should all be about fun anyway, and it should truly the great ones. It's not about that broadcast voice. It's really about a personality and getting things out of people you talk to.
Absolutely.
And that's the ones that are the best.
You bet.
Yeah.
And we have a friend of ours that she has become our de facto publicist over the years, and we kind of hit the scene at the same time. She was first into doing PR, and we were first into podcasting, and we kind of grew up together. And she said, I just love your show and listening to your interviews because you get stories out of people that nobody else could possibly get out of So that's kind of, it's a nice thing,
Yeah, but we're still not famous yet. Like, what are we doing wrong?
We're famous in our own mind,
Yeah. And actually, it's not really the fame that matters. It's the quality product, because when the time hits, it hits.
Yeah.
And if anything, fame and celebrity is just kind of, it's all just fake. It's just there. And what it does is it distracts you from what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
We found our niche, and, we really enjoy what we do. We do a lot of independent filmmakers, writers, comic book artists. We talk to a lot of different people, and we have our own angle of looking at it. And we do a lot of LGBTQ community things now, and it really is kind of that's our niche, and we're very happy with it.
I'm not going to question what we put out. So it's all about being honest to one's self. So enough about me. Let's make this about you.
Exactly. That's what we're here to talk about, is you.
Me?
Yes.
No,
well, because you've got, as you pointed out earlier, you've got one heck of an interesting career. I mean, when you drop Lee Harvey Oswald's girlfriend, like, holy smokes! That's not just a footnote in history, and as far as anybody's concerned. So you've definitely got a really unique angle at what it is that you do. I'm looking at your webpage right now. You have a Bachelor of Arts in Criminology. So obviously there's something there in terms of what your particular fascination is. So what is it that you're really pushing these days?
Yes.
Well, what am I pushing? For the most part, I'm obsessed with mystery and what surrounds it. I love the way that people perceive things and what they believe and why they believe it. So it can be a crime mystery, it can be a history mystery, it can be a science mystery. I've dealt with people that tell me the world's flat. We haven't been to the moon, that, the deep state, to Oswald didn't shoot the president, to you name it. At the same time, it's crime mystery and history. I just anything that the population seems to be not settled on, the conspiracy behind our thinking. And I think that come from when I was a kid. All I did was listen to radio, and that was the old Suspense and the Shadow and all those things.
All classic radio theater, yeah.
Yeah, and that makes me curious. But actually, and it's for my schooling. The only reason, this sounds crazy, but the only reason I took criminology and I was going for my master's in music. I originally started in theater. But I was no good at that. And plus, we were in a center room with the music students, and there was this guy there that I had a huge crush on. So I transferred into the music department.
As all burgeoning young gay men do.
Yeah.
You changed your major for a guy.
Yeah, I changed my major for a man. And it led to better things, because then I started taking classes in radio, in the production end of it. And at the same time, you needed a minor. And I chose criminology because I was in the classes with a bunch of cops, and I thought they were very, very sexy. So that drew me into those fields. So, but I stayed with them, obviously, because I love them. But it's funny how life leads you into these directions that you don't even plan.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
That's fascinating. So did you play an instrument, or was what kind of music?
Yeah, I play guitar is my major, piano is my minor, and I had a natural ability, and I think that's. They tell me it's from being on the spectrum that we have a numbers and musical thing, and it's true. There is something.
Yes. My husband
comes
here
with that.
is definitely he's a guitarist, and the music theory just comes easy to him. And
I sit somewhere on the spectrum too, so
it's just numbers and music.
It all just. I mean, I can see it in my mind. I listen to a tune and I can actually see in my mind the actual fingering on the guitar or the chords or the intervals, things like that. I just visualize it.
And to transpose while playing, I never could. Oh my God, I played the viola, so and it was like if you don't have a key signature in front of me, I can't do it. So.
Oh, wow.
Anyway.
Yeah, well, that's how it went. And one thing led to another. But I've always been fascinated with people, and sometimes and then writing in true crime. Nonfiction seems to be good because I get to be involved with a lot of people.
Right.
And that fulfills the need. It's hard sometimes. Like the one I'm working on now is really hard because there's still a lot of people alive. We've got a murderer that I'm dealing with, and he killed 7 people.
Oh my!
And he's up for parole next year.
Oh dear!
And so there's a tremendous amount of responsibility on how you word things when you write something like that.
Oh, well, especially somebody that's still alive and could potentially get out.
Yeah, that's I hadn't even considered that as being problematic. Is this something? Is this a new thing that you've had to deal with?
More so now, because this is the first time I'm writing about a killer that gets out next year, or possibly gets out, and there's so many aspects to it because. He actually raped and killed 2 little girls as well.
Yeesh.
And we're talking 11 and 13. And what's really, really unusual, or not really, as I found out, but he's remarried. Someone found him online, went in and married him, gets conjugal visits with him, and she has 2 children about the same age as the 2 that he had killed.
Oh dear Lord God!
So when you get all of that information and you're trying to write about it, you have to really be careful on how you word it, because it's not the 2 girls that are alive. It's not the 2 stepdaughters, as we call them. It's not their fault their mother went and married this guy. So there's a lot of angles to this, and then there's a lot of people still alive on the victim's side.
Right.
So it's kind of, that's the hardest part of it, and the most responsibility behind it.
Right. Something you just touched on that made me wonder, when you're working on these, because you've got quite a catalog of books where you've dealt with, cults, murderers, things like that. When you are working on these particular stories and putting them into your books, how do you manage to keep yourself from going insane? Because I know that if it were me and I was writing on this, I know that it would. I mean, I'm not saying that it would turn me into some kind of a occultist serial killer, but it would definitely have an effect on my anxiety and my depression. It would really weigh on me. How do you manage to maintain some semblance of mental health and continue on, and yet still work in this particular venue?
Who said I did?
I'm just assuming.
Oh, you are a serial killer, huh?
I've got the basements full of bodies. No, to be honest, what it is you go through emotions, of course, but I think that keeping away from people. So it sounds weird, but I hang out with my dogs a lot. And I have a lot of real time. It brings you back to earth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you go and you meet. It's always tough going to meet victims' families and stuff, and you go through all that and all that stuff, and you come back. But the dogs kind of bring you back to where you were before. So it sounds weird, but my pets are a big support for me in that way. They seem to be the best.
Yeah, they don't respond to quid pro quo queries.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing is, it works. It works for the most part. Not that it doesn't affect me. There's times that it does affect, stress or panic and depression. All of that can all be part of it. And you just kind of go through it. And why I keep doing it, because I don't know what else I would do.
Right. Mm-hmm. And possibly because you're on the spectrum, you have this ability to compartmentalize things and do that, that it sounds reasonable to me anyway.
No, and it's true. That is. And in fact, that's a good thing and it's a bad thing, because it's a really good thing. Is I can separate it and be fine and go about my day. But the bad thing is I find myself meeting people, and I think sometimes people think I'm rather cold, or I don't have that much feeling, because I could sit in a room of ladies crying their eyes out, telling me about the murder and all this stuff like this, and nothing. I can put that in a separate box to get the information, and if anything, it's harder for me to show emotion to these people that are in trouble. So that, if anything, sometimes people think, well, I'm cold, or you have to have no heart to do that, and so that's, you're right. The spectrum part of me is actually what allows me to do it. Right.
But I'm sure that probably has a potential of interfering with other parts of your life as well. You compartmentalize things that maybe you shouldn't.
Oh, totally. And I'm aware of it. And it's just always a work in progress, right?
Absolutely, we are. Every day is new.
And, yeah. And I don't know what else to do other than to keep working as each day goes on, and let it go like that. So it's kind of unusual, but and even it's strange, being in that world too. I wasn't necessarily open or out to being gay as well, right? So that you don't deal with cops and prisons and prisoners and all that if you're really outwardly gay,
right?
Right. So in a way, I was closed off to that part of me publicly.
Right.
So that as well, so that's something that's just recently opened up for me, because it's still very, how do I say? It's very homophobic or anti-gay still in the policing world.
Is it really?
Oh,
I'm surprised to hear that, because I read about news. I read news stories about organizations and support groups that are trying to encourage a more inclusive environment. So it's surprising to hear that this still kind of exists.
I'm sure. I think the thing is, on paper it's there, and people. In the I don't know, the administration of groups are trying to be open and supportive, but the reality is you just don't change because the law changes,
right?
Mm-hmm. Or because they set up a gay group. So they're so it's there. It's the right direction. I'm not saying it's wrong, but the truth is. It just doesn't change overnight. They can change the law and say, okay, gay marriage is fine. But people don't wake up the next day going, well, that's okay.
Yeah.
If it's something they didn't care for. It takes time to blend, and it takes time for it to sink into people and to become part of their everyday life, and sometimes generations. I can just say for a fact, I know for a fact, and there's some really good people I've worked with in the business, really good people. But they're not necessarily, pro-gay, and that sort of, sometimes it's really surprised me, and sometimes it's not a surprise. But it's kind of crazy, but it's there. It's still there.
Yeah, it's one day at a time. I mean, as you said, it's a matter of getting these new ideas and beliefs to just kind of seep through the public consciousness. And yeah, people's hearts don't change overnight. And I don't know, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. That can be debated till the end of time. Did you find in doing your so you said you had problems, possible problems, working with police and law enforcement when doing interviews? I mean, granted, the fact that you're gay should not be the topic of the day, but did you find that ever actually coming into play at some point unexpectedly?
Well, no, because for the most part, I had a very I'm very neutral, and I'm dealing with cops, and everything's fine. Where I would notice it would be on the sidelines when you're, all of a sudden, out of the blue, one of the guys will go, "The goddamn Jews, what do they want?" Or the goddamn fags, God, what do they want? Like, they say things like that when you're standing right there, because they don't really. It doesn't click to them that you are, and so there's it's kind of like it's there, and if anything, it kept me very cautious about what I would let out in my own life, because I know it would affect my relationship with the policing and the whole legal. It's the whole law enforcement side. That's the best way I can say it. I waited until I had 12 or 13 books out, and I've been on the radio for years. And even then, now I'm pretty wild on air, and we have a lot of fun, but it's kind of like, I guess I'm past kind of the main part that I want it to be.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you've got this new... Oh, go ahead, please.
No, I was just going to say, so it doesn't really matter as much anymore. I've loosened up. People in the radio and the production side of it, and co-hosts I've worked with, they've all known, in that way. It's just when I'm going out for books and writing and dealing with the law enforcement side and correction side of it, it's not really been a topic that I've chosen to expose.
Okay, so you've you mentioned these books, and you briefly talked about the upcoming book, at least the content of it, Murder Times 6. This is a book that's coming out soon, I imagine.
Yeah, it should be out. It'll go on pre-sale after the long weekend here. After the September long weekend, it'll go on pre-sale for just 10 days, I believe. That was it. And so mid-September, it should be on full release.
And you've got quite the library of books. So for anybody who is interested in the kind of material that you write, where can they find it?
Well, my website is alanrwarren.com. And that's everything, radio, books, everything I do is attached to that website now. Or they can just go to any bookstore or Amazon, of course.
And if people want to learn more about you, because you've got quite the interesting career and life. So where can people, follow you on social media to learn more about about you and what you're doing?
Well, I have a Facebook, of course. I have a Twitter and an Instagram, and I'm active in those, but that's about it now. I'm not really. I go on TikTok just for fun, but I don't.
Right. You don't do the dances. You don't do the dances on TikTok.
No. It's fun to watch, but no, I'm just not there.
Yeah. There are some things that maybe should not be. It's like why we do audio, because we have the face for radio.
Exactly.
Yeah, some things should not be seen.
Exactly. So I just keep it like that. So so anybody can go on Facebook and check it out,
and they can find you as Alan R. Warren there.
Yeah, I'm there, and the House of Mystery, which is the show, is on there as well.
What about your Twitter? What is?
Radio Cub is my Twitter.
Okay.
Very nice.
Well, thank you so much, Alan, for being on the show this time.
Well, it's been a pleasure. I'm glad to be here.
Hey guys, my name's Gigi Edgley. I play Tiana on Farscape, and I'm the host of Jim Henson's Creature Shop Challenge. And you're listening to the amazing, awesome, amazing, brilliant, perfect, wonderful Two Gay Geeks. Mwah!
I always love that.
That's a lot of amazing.
Amazing. Yeah. She really is amazing.
Oh, she's a doll.
She was just such a wonderful, personable, just really nice
she
person.
really is a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And she loves it every time she'd do a con appearance and then she'd see us, and she was always so happy that we would show up.
Yep. Here's a few selected birthdays for September 21st through September 27th, 2020, although we forgot somebody because I can't see all of the birthdays for
Facebook.
an entire week.
How dare
on
you?
Facebook. So on the 20th, yesterday was Thomas Valliere, a wonderful
Morning After.
Wonderful
Fabulous
actress.
actor.
Yes, actor.
Wonderful actor, wonderful person, left us lovely video feedback a year or so ago.
Yep. September 21st, Gustav Holst, composer of The Planets.
I think that's probably what he's best known for.
Yeah, best known for that. There's a number of other pieces that he has done, but that was the big thing, and it's been inspired lots of music, including Star Wars.
Yeah, John Williams took a little bit of Mars and used that as the opening for...
Where was it? We heard something. We were watching something the other day.
Something...
it was on a episode of Voyager, I think.
It might have been an episode of Voyager. Yeah, I think it was, actually, now that you mention it.
Or was it Eureka? One or the other.
I think it was Voyager, though.
Yeah, but there was...
a little rhythmic pulse that kind of suggested Mars.
Exactly. And then Chuck Jones, cartoonist, said to be the father of contemporary animation. Longtime Warner Brothers animator, creating Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky the Pig, as well as Wile E. Coyote, Super Genius.
Chuck Jones was the one who really, I think, ushered in that golden age of Looney Tunes.
Roadrunner and Marvin the Martian.
Yeah. Isn't that nice?
Yes. And then H.G. Wells, writer, best remembered as the father of science fiction.
I think she would say mother.
Yes.
If you watch Warehouse 13.
Yes, exactly. But I did read an article in one of our paperlies and just as a reminder, if you look at our Twitter feed and you look at our paper.ly thing, it's only good for the one day.
Yeah, then it's gone.
You can look the things up. You can look. Find
there is an archive, but it's a pain in the butt to navigate to a specific article.
But I did find the article from several days ago that there's it's actually on Gizmodo, and that science fiction has some roots in ancient Islam. Back to the 2nd century.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, some really interesting stuff. Several Islamic stories throughout the many centuries. Somebody that went to the moon on a water spout and found, intelligent life. And
well, I wonder if a lot of these were meant to be fables.
Who knows?
Things like that. That's fascinating.
Yeah. Interesting thing is that H.G. Wells died in 1946.
Yes, in fact, I actually heard H.G. Wells in an interview. I was listening to Sirius XM back. I'm talking maybe 2006, and they were doing the historic.
Did they do a seance?
No, they were doing the historic rebroadcast of War of the Worlds.
I see.
And they played an interview with Orson Welles and H.G. Wells.
Huh. Interesting. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Also on September 21st, a friend of ours and person that we have cruised with a number of times, Emily Dotter. September 22nd, Anna Magdalena Bach, his second wife of Johann Sebastian Bach. Several of the songbooks that JSB wrote were dedicated to her, the Anna Magdalena songbooks and whatnot. She was actually a singer, and they probably met as when he was Kapellmeister, and she was singing in the courts at that time.
Very possible.
And it's been surmised that she wrote several pieces that actually were attributed to JSB, because obviously women did not write music at that time, at least according to the patriarchy. And but there's been several pieces that were attributed to her, and she had 13 children.
Yeah.
And he had like 7 from his previous marriage.
Something like that. I mean, it was it was a lot.
Yeah. And let's see. Then we have Michael Faraday, English scientist, contributed to the study of electromagnetism, and also invented the essence of the Bunsen burner, which is still used today, among many, many other things that Michael Faraday did. He's right up there with Newton and Einstein and, the greats. Then we have a good friend of ours, Norman Gidney, and Amanda Melby. She was the producer and star of Raising Buchanan.
Yes. Still a wonderful movie.
Oh my gosh, it's great. You should find that movie.
It's really
Raising
delightful.
Buchanan. Amanda and
Renee Auberjonois.
and several other people from local Phoenix area, and it's just really a great film. September 23rd, Walter Pidgeon, actor. I know him from Day the Earth Stood Still. And,
Day the Earth Stood Still?
Not
Forbidden Planet.
Forbidden Planet. Sorry, I don't know what was I thinking. I wasn't. Then we have Ray Charles, musician, a father of soul. He combined blues, jazz, rhythm and blues, and gospel, and that kind of defines what soul music is. He's one of the greats in soul music and the father of soul.
But the way that he sang also, I mean, not to kind of make a pun on it, but he really sang with all of his soul.
Yep.
I mean, there was nobody like him at the time. He really paved new ground for music.
Yep. Then Anthony Mackie, actor, is the Falcon in the
Marvel movies. And hopefully we will finally get to see Falcon and the Snowman at some point on the Disney Plus channel.
Yeah, hopefully. He graduated from Juilliard School, where his roommate was Lee Pace.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's far out.
Interesting. And then we have Facebook friend Cam Fadal and Josh Tarnofsky. September 24th, Jim Henson.
A man who left us too soon.
Inventor of the Muppets, if you will. That's why I put
Gigi there.
Gigi's in there, because she's Jim Henson's Creature Shop. And he was the voice of Kermit, as well as many, many other characters. Started out in the 50s with Sam and Friends. It was on after the 11 o'clock news.
If I remember right, we saw some of that at there was an exhibit in Seattle, and we actually got to see a little bit of that. And I think that's kind of where maybe you actually saw the progenitor of Kermit, even.
Yeah, and because Kermit was kind of a salamander type thing.
Yeah,
and then he evolved into a frog. But what was it? Rolf, R-O-W-L-F.
The dog.
The dog was his first creature, and he started out in the 50s. Then the Jimmy Dean Show in the early 60s had a couple of his characters. And it wasn't really until Sesame Street that things really took off. And he tried several different incarnations before the Muppets in 1976. They tried on Ronan Martin's Laugh-In, but they didn't quite mesh together. The humor didn't work well together. And he actually died. The Muppet Show was the most watched television show in history.
It was hilariously funny.
Yep. And he died a few days before he was officially going to sell the Muppets to Disney.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's why there's been this integration of Disney and the Muppets, and then they finally bought Henson. What was it? So 10 years or so ago,
about
something like that. So yeah, just long association with Jim Henson.
Wow, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, choked on me.
You aspirated?
I aspirated, yes. Then we have Linda McCartney, photographer, muse, and first love of Sir Paul McCartney. Dmitri Shostakovich, composer. He was a Russian composer whose music was typified by sharp contrasts and ambivalent tonality.
Ambivalent?
Yes.
Ambivalent?
Tonality, yes.
I'm trying to figure...
right out of the Wikipedia article. Yeah.
How can your tonality be ambivalent? I'm really just puzzling on that one.
Isn't. And some
do
say,
I care?
Yeah. Some say he was among the great composers of the 20th century due to his unique harmonic language that he had created. And then we have Facebook friend Gabe Hagen, September 25th. Mark Hamill, actor, most famous for, what was it?
Well, as an actor.
Actor.
Don't you even dare.
What was his name?
Luke.
Oh, Luke from Lost in Space. What was it? Star Wars. And has done many voiceover.
That's really where he made his, I think made his career even more so, is doing a lot of voiceover work.
Do you know he auditioned for American Graffiti?
Yes, actually, I do know that.
And he auditioned for Amadeus as well.
He actually played the role of Mozart on stage. I don't think it was on Broadway. It might have been off Broadway, but he did play the part of Mozart.
Yep, and his the way he approaches the voice of the Joker is he imagines the Joker as part Hannibal Lecter and part Jerry Lewis.
He made the role of the Joker so identifiable that when you think about the animated Batman series and you think about Joker, everybody thinks about Mark Hamill. The only sad part is I think doing that voice just it completely wrecked his throat.
Yeah, well, his claim to fame is to be able to, on a dime, change his voice. So
I saw him do it I saw footage of him doing it at a con, and he was reading something that was just really kind of blasé, and then just read it as Joker, and the audience just loved it to no end.
Yeah, and then we have Christopher Reeve, actor, Superman,
best known as
Superman, injured in a horseback accident in 1995.
What a tragedy.
And he was the very first caller into Dr. Fraser Crane's radio show in 1993.
I'd forgotten that, but you're right, he was.
Yep. And then we have Jean-Philippe Rameau, composer, 18th century French composer of opera and leading French composer of harpsichord music alongside Francois Couperin. Mm-hmm. And I've heard Brendan play quite a bit of Rameau and Francois, as well as Louis Couperin, who was the uncle of Francois. Let's see, September 26th, Jack LaLanne, fitness guru and actor. Mm-hmm. His show, the Jack LaLanne Show, ran from 1951 to 1985.
Yeah.
And the producers said, it won't last 6 weeks.
Bull. Bull.
Yeah. And he's mentioned in, actually sideways mentioned in the Ritz. He said, my wife watched Jack LaLanne.
That's right.
Yeah. He died in 2011 at 93.
He was in great shape pretty much up to the end.
Yeah, he proved at age 41 that you can swim from Alcatraz to Fisherman's Wharf handcuffed.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yep, exactly. Then we have George Gershwin, composer. His music spanned both modern and classical genres. Went to Paris to study with Nadia Boulanger, who refused him. So he wrote An American in Paris and returned to America to compose Porgy and Bess.
There you go.
And teamed up with his brother, who was a talented wordsmith and lyricist. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yes.
Ira came up with some of the craziest concoctions of words and
well, it's not just the concoctions of words, but also
juxtaposition of words.
Yes, it's the rhythmic breaking up of the words.
Yeah.
There's a certain expectation that words begin on a certain downbeat, but he would like to do things and totally trick them up and have like the second syllable or the third syllable become the downbeat, and then and use the first syllable as an upbeat. I mean, it was just so turned around, but catchy.
Yeah, I think it's in I've Got Rhythm is you quiver like a flivver.
Yeah.
And a flivver was actually one of the old jalopies that the Dust Bowl people were driving out to Bakersfield.
Right.
Yep. Then we have Olivia Newton-John, singer, actress, sister of Elton John.
Yeah, it's a fact.
It's a fact.
Well, I'll tell you what is a fact is I actually talked to her.
Oh, really?
She was on Sirius XM, and she was on the Derek and Romaine show.
Oh, wow.
And I actually called in.
That's
because she was releasing a new record. And they played a little bit of it, and what amazed me is, here we are, we're talking 2006...
Yeah.
Coming into 2007, and she was still able to reach those very high notes that she was known for in the 70s and 80s. She could still do it, and I had to call her and talk to her and find out what was her regimen, what kind of health activities did she engage in for the health of her voice, what kind of warm-ups did she do, and she was lovely to talk to.
Oh, cool. She was obviously in Grease and Xanadu.
Oh, yeah.
Ex-brother-in-law of Jeff Conaway.
That I didn't know.
Yep. And she was born in England and moved to Australia.
Right.
And is currently living with stage 4 cancer.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
she's had metastatic cancer for years and had, like, this is the third or fourth bout with it.
And even though she's probably not doing anything professionally anymore, the day she leaves us, I will mourn because I love her.
Yep, she has become a proponent of medical cannabis. She uses the cannabis oil for to help with the pain. And her daughter owns a cannabis farm in Oregon.
Oh, well, there you go.
Interesting, yeah. And then we have friend and filmmaker Shant Hamassian.
Shant F. Bob Hamassian.
Yes. And then we have Bryant Dillon. What a wonderful person.
Oh, lovely person.
Barbara and Bryant are just
I adore
two
them.
Wonderful people, a Fanbase Press. You should check out Fanbase Press. They have some wonderful stuff. Check them out. September 27th, Sean Cassidy. Actor, singer in the Hardy Boys.
TV producer.
Oh, my gosh. TV producer on American Gothic in
Yes.
New Amsterdam. Older brother was David Cassidy. And he was just as cute as
Oh, well,
David.
he was quite the teenage heartthrob.
Oh, my God, yeah.
But what amazed me is, I love this. I was watching an episode live. I was getting ready to go on vacation, and I just happened to have Live with Regis and Kathy Lee on. And the guests were Sean and David. They were appearing on Broadway in a play called Blood Brothers.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that they sang this closing song. The characters themselves that they play never sing this, but for the sake of the show, they did. And I was just totally blown away by what a beautiful baritone voice Sean had.
Yeah. And he signed his first autograph at age 5 for being Shirley Jones' son.
Okay. Well, he lived way past the reputation.
Yeah. And William Conrad, actor, Canon, Jake and the Fat Man, and many, many, many TV shows where he was the narrator, including Buck Rogers in the 25th Century.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah, that one I did know.
He was the narrator in several characters. He did over 7,500 radio programs.
You can really carve out a good career doing that, I think.
I mean, his voice is kind of unmistakable,
Yeah.
too. And then we have a friend of ours, Jason Drogo, and Ellen Hinkle, and Daniel Franks, and Johnny Ingram, one of the producers and creators of
the HBO series.
The
drag series, and
We're Here.
We're Here.
Yep.
Yeah, which I don't know where things are at right now, but it did get nominated for Emmy.
Yeah, and they're got a second season, so whenever they can get around to doing it, They'll do it.
I couldn't be happier.
And that's it for the birthdays this time.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad? Not me, that's for sure. How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name. They don't even have roadkill in a paper cup. That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
Go give a listen to our friends Chuck and Craig over at Technorama Podcast.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
And everybody knows what that music is.
Yes. It's a time for Keith to play with the soundboard. Like that. It's our feedback time, which means play with the soundboard. Just like that. Ooh, I like the rhythm. You should become a DJ.
Yeah.
You know, start doing house music.
Yeah.
Fans that love it. Yeah, people go crazy for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the feedback section, and the links for these items that we're going to talk about will be featured in the show notes for this episode at tggeeks.com. Starting with, regarding TG Geeks episode number 289. And this is just a bunch of birthday thank yous, because we had a lot of birthdays to say at that episode. Starting with from Russ Emanuel, he says thanks. Then from Scott Tyler, he says thank you. Got some thanks from Mark Biaggi. Thank you for the birthday wishes, virtual hugs. Yeah. From Susan Martin Murph. Thanks, guys, for the birthday shout out. It's certainly different this year. No Dragon Con and all things. Hugs to everyone. And then you're going to have to help me with this one from Kimberly McGurk. Clintobe. Okay. She said, thank you. Happy birthday, my fellow Virgos. And then lastly, from Tatiana Patton, she says, thank you, guys. Moving on, regarding TG Geeks episode number 290. Now, I got a comment from Am I Evil graphic novel. These are the people that are all involved in the Am I Evil graphic novel that is being produced by Jack Mangan. And they say, Jack spoke to Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks of TG Squared Studios, about Am I Evil, the graphic novel. Check it out. Which then leads to a comment from Jack Mangan himself. He says, thank you so much for having me on the show. It was a fun conversation. And then we close it off because nothing makes me smile more than to get a comment from Arkle. Yeah. I love it when he gives us feedback. And this one was so big.
You, Arkle.
No, seriously, I have to split this one into 2 episodes because there was so much that he had to say. I was actually thinking about cutting it. And then as I read the rest of it, I thought, no, I have to hold on to this because it's just too good. So we will save the rest of it for the next episode. But for this time around, I will give you this from Arkle. Jeffrey Combs was on Voyager in the episode that also featured The Rock. It's a better episode than one might expect, given that it existed to cross-promote the WWE back when it was on UPN. Not necessarily a good episode, but better than average for a stunt episode. J.G. Hertzler was in it too. Apparently, it was the reason he and Combs did not speak to each other for years until the documentary. They might have gone back to not talking afterwards. I don't actually know.
Yeah,
okay, well, I didn't know anything about that, but we had to see that episode because we were touring Paramount right after they finished filming that specific dreadful episode. And yes, it is a piece of garbage. I really don't like it at all. But what made it fun was the set.
Yep.
And we actually got to go by a sound stage where they don't do any filming, but that's where they do the building and the teardown. And we saw the arena that the Rocks character battles 7 of 9. So, yes, we were very much looking forward to watching it, and I was thoroughly disappointed by the time it was over because I thought it stunk. But I don't remember Hertzler in it. So, and then we've got a couple of years because that's not till season 6.
Yeah.
And we're only in season 3 in our Voyager rewatch, so it'll be a while. But it's nice to know that Jeffrey Combs was able to appear in that. Now, if they can somehow find a way to make him appear in the later Star Trek episodes, he will have an almost perfect run.
Exactly.
Almost perfect run.
Almost perfect run.
Yeah, almost perfect run. Anyway, that is our feedback for this time.
You can leave comments on our Facebook page or on Twitter or on Instagram or at tggeeks.com. How about that?
Imagine
on
that.
Each article or each episode. Or you can be like Pia, and you can leave us a voicemail if you want, and you can be famous too. You can call 469-TG-GEEKS, that is 469-844-3357. And as always, when you leave a voicemail or a comment, please play nice. As everybody knows, we are huge supporters of independent creators, whether they're filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, or others. And since the convention scene has dried up for this year, because there will still be conventions going on at this point, a lot of them are kind of wondering where their next paycheck for their creative side is coming from. So if you happen to find out that somebody has a Facebook page, a website, an Etsy page, an Instagram page, or Twitter, check it out. See what they're up to, chat them up, chat with other people about them, tell other people about this wonderful independent creator that you have discovered, and consider buying their stuff. Consider supporting independent creators. The Joshua Tree Feeding Program is a 501c3 nonprofit food pantry for the HIV and AIDS community for Maricopa and Pinal County. They offer a wide variety of foods and nutritional food things to take home as
You're going to say
supplements. Stuff. I was going to say stuff, yes. They set it up like a store so the clients can pick and choose what they want, and empowers them so they do not waste any food. They actually have their Taste of Italy fundraiser. This year, they're going to do it virtually, so you can order online. You can drive up and pick up your stuff, and then they'll have a virtual online presentation.
When is that supposed to be? Do you remember?
It's in November.
And
then you can support Joshua Tree like that. They'll also be having a number of other fundraisers that are going on. You can actually support them on a monthly basis with a recurring gift or a single gift. Go to jtfp.org to discover how you can contribute. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. You are not alone.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
I just have to say something about the two suicide prevention things that we just ran. I didn't know that September was suicide prevention month, but it is. So please reach out for help. You are not alone. There are people that you can talk to. And sometimes supporting somebody that is having thoughts of suicide, just being there for them is a great way. Just checking in on them, non-intrusive and non-invasive. Hi, how are you? Hope you're doing okay. Can even a smile can go a long way.
You can't help.
So please just support people that are in crisis and learn to recognize when people are in crisis. Learn to recognize when people are just in regular life mode and that might need a smile or a cheer or something, Let's be nice to our fellow people on this planet.
Yes.
I don't have anything other than what we're kind of watching currently. We're still watching Eureka.
Yeah.
And Voyager and Warehouse 13 and throwing some other things here and there.
Something did come to mind, and this goes in sort of in line with what... We're recording this on a Sunday, and normally we record our episodes on a Saturday, but yesterday, Saturday... we were busy cleaning out my mom's apartment, and we had some people come in and help. And I really want to give these guys a shout out. They are a local Phoenix thing. And the reason I want to give them a shout out is because they speak to what we talk about, and that is independent creators. The person who put this business together, he's an independent businessman. And he created 4 Peaks. What are they called?
4 Peaks Junk Removal?
Yeah, 4 Peaks Junk Removal. And all they did, they removed some big pieces of furniture that we were not able to move. And the guy, Matt, who came in with another guy named Raymond, they moved these big pieces of furniture out of my mom's apartment. And to be able to talk to the man who was the owner and started it up was really a kind of a thrill for me to see that you can be an independent businessman.
Yep.
And you can still thrive and succeed. And it just made me really happy that they were available to help us out. So if you
very professional,
extremely professional.
Yeah.
So if you happen to be within the sound of my voice and you're in the Phoenix area
and you need something removed, oh my gosh,
check these guys
They're
out.
great.
I mean, they're number one on search hits, I guess, and for a good reason. Because Keith contacted them on a Friday
afternoon,
and they said, okay, sure, we'll do it. And they were there the next day, and they got this stuff out lickety split fast. They were fantastic. They were amazing, and I cannot talk about how great they are enough. They were great. So yeah, if you're in the Phoenix area, check out 4 Peaks Junk Removal. And here are some items that we ran on our website at tggeeks.com. And the links for each of these articles will be in the show notes for this episode number 292 at tggeeks.com. Starting Sunday, September 13th. I have November on the brain. Nerdy Chupacabras, number 13. On Monday the 14th, TG Geeks, number 291. On Tuesday the 15th, nothing, because we were still busy cleaning up my mom's place. On Wednesday the 16th, Rialto to have virtual release September 18th, and on demand October 20th, trailer attached. That's a very interesting looking movie. Check it out.
Yeah.
On Thursday the 17th, Joshua Tree Feeding Program Taste of Italy fundraiser goes virtual. On Friday the 18th, Hamish Downey's 5 Questions with Tracy Consoli of The Pink Cow. This is sort of like a bar and artsy kind of joint in Japan. Really interesting place.
Yeah.
And then we close it off with Saturday, September 19th. This Got Made, hosted by Carlton Tetley, Episode 8, The Ocelot number 1, Oi.
Oi is right. Oh, my Lord. Find all these things at tggeeks.com.
Have to give a couple of shout outs. First to the Arkle Times Post-Dispatch News, which republishes our content from time to time, put out by the human Arkle, Brian Weber. You heard wonderful feedback from him earlier in this episode. If you want to find the Post-Dispatch News, and I highly recommend it, Find him on Twitter and search for Arkle at ARKLE. And speaking of Arkle, check out his YouTube channel, Arkle Studios. Brian has a number of projects, his Shameless Cash Grab series, his Rants vs. Zombies series, and his game videos of Trick and Treat, as well as Star Trek Online. You can do that by going to youtube.com/Arkle Studios. And we must also give some shout-outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles on their pages. First, Two Gay Geeks After Hours. Big thanks to the moderators for literally allowing us to share away our content. The URL is facebook.com/groups/Gay Geeks After Hours, and that's all one word. And then to The Gay Geek for the same. The URL is facebook.com/groups/The Gay Geek. And as always, special thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
And we can be found on Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check us out on Krypton Radio at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Tuesdays. They do a replay of our show. And listen to their other content. They're a 24-hour geeky internet radio station. Please rate us and review us on iTunes, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We'll have several links on the page of things we talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Please be kind to yourself and others. Stay home, stay safe, stay sane. Peace.
Cheers.